Hello, BookTube. I have a little mail for you on a very humid, overcast day here in Boston. It certainly feels like rain is coming, but the actual data has been decreasing the likelihood of rain steadily, hour by hour. So I'm not sure that it is actually going to rain. Certainly we have the crushing humidity that usually comes right before rain, but I don't know that we're actually going to get the moisture that we need. But one way or another, it was bright and sunny early this morning. Now the sun has completely gone. As you can tell from the cool lighting of this video. And whether or not the rain comes, there is a big weather change coming for Boston later this week, midweek. We're getting a heat wave, a genuine heat wave. I was kind of sort of thinking in the back of my mind that maybe we were done with that for the summer of 2021, but no, we are getting a genuine heat wave where it's not iffy. The last one we had was kind of sort of iffy. The temperatures, technically in the United States, in order to have a heat wave, you have to have 3 consecutive days where the high temperature is over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. For those of you who are in the Celsius scale, which is everybody outside of America, that's mighty hot. just think of it that way. It's mighty hot. The higher you go, the worse it gets. And the last stretch of warm weather that we had here really didn't do that. It kind of felt it, but it really didn't. This one is going to clear that hurdle with no problems at all. I think it is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then, if you've got a mass of superheated air there, it'll take a while for that to slough off. So the weekend will probably be warm too. But I don't think there's any doubt that we're going to miss that. I think that's coming. Rain, I'm not so sure, one way or another. But the mail that I have, the mail that we're doing today is odd because it's not books. There are no books. But I figure I share everything with you anyway. So why not? Why not show you my mail? Why not rummage through it together? I'm a lonely old shut-in. I might as well have my company. I'm a little distracted looking out the window because a couple of properties over, there's a dog romping around in his backyard, and that is bound to distract me. Bound to distract me. A little. I will keep my self-control. But I have said for a long, long time, longer than most of you have been alive, people have asked me, what is the single most beautiful sight that you know of? And people have often asked me that, anticipating they're going to get some far-flung answer, but knowing that I've traveled a little in my life. But my answer is very simple. A dog running is the most beautiful sight in the world. I've got that right in front of me here. But I'm going to try. We got 2 periodicals and a package. I think I know what the package is. If I'm right, you should prepare for some Steve squealing. But the periodicals are, I am resuming my periodical subscriptions. Basically now, if somebody at any periodical, the New Republic, the New Statesman, Atlantic, Harper's, whatever, if some intern is going through mailing lists and thinking, hey, we should send out a card to this person. They haven't subscribed in years, but it's worth it. And it's worth the bulk mailing rate just in case to snatch a subscription. Basically, my approach now in 2021 is every single time that I get one of those cards, no matter what it is, I just write the pittance that they want for a check and send it off. So I'm resubscribing to basically everything. And these are 2 that I'm happy to have back. The first is Architectural Digest. And this is the style issue, which right away let me know that it wasn't going to be much in it that would intrigue me. This is all the fancy schmancy homes of style and trendsetters in LA and elsewhere. I don't believe that these people actually live in the houses the way they look. Probably have a team of cleaners come in first, but I can't imagine living in them myself, although some of them have allures. Look at that old face. Some of them have allures, but most of them, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Can you imagine? Look at this room. Look at this room. That is structurally an absolutely beautiful room, but look what's been done to it. Who could possibly enjoy this? There are no books anywhere. There's no mess anywhere. So often the rooms here seem so antiseptic. There's also a strong penchant among these places. I wonder if I can find the example that really caught my eye. There's a strong penchant in these places for bathing in public that really doesn't appeal to Steve. Even though the bathrooms themselves are to die for. Let me see if I can find an example. Look at that. Yes, it's lovely in a kind of way, but it looks like you'd be afraid to touch anything. One of these is an offender. Well, this is an offender. You want to bathe in a wide open room like that? Somebody walks in. Oh, sorry, I thought it was the garage. There's another one, another example in here somewhere that's even worse, of just a public bath. I mean, look at that. That's what I'm talking about. So the groundskeeper walks by. Helmut, the groundskeeper, walks by outside because he's pruning the trees, and he gets a full stereoscopic view of you and your giblets on full display in the tub. Who would want to bathe in a tub like that? A tub like that, yes, but a setting like that, no, absolutely not. And unfortunately, this being a style issue, every once in a while, in virtually every issue of Architectural Digest, I can count on it seeing one place that is somewhere where I actually go, ooh, that looks lovely to live in. Whether it's an old house in the English or French countryside or a really nice apartment in New York or somewhere. And there really isn't anything like that in this issue. It's actually a question I have for the rest of you in case there's another magazine fan out there. Is there a magazine devoted to normal homes that have been just done really well? Old homes, maybe something that isn't so Art Nouveau. I don't know if there is or not. Maybe I should just go. I mentioned the other day in a video that when I went to the local retail megastore, the Barnes & Noble in Boston, I noticed that they have a huge periodical section. Maybe I should just look at the house and home section there, pull out a few subscription cards, and see. But the other magazine here is Vanity Fair. And this one has a neat conceit to it, where a bulk of the articles are about the turn of the 20th century. So bye-bye to the 1990s and hello to the new century. And that was fun. That led to a lot of fun. There are a lot of articles in here that were a lot of fun to read. Not so much reading about Diddy, someone named Diddy, who's been surrounded by yes men for his entire adult life. Don't care at all about the manufactured hard luck story of his youth. He has been treated like a god on earth by everyone around him. Everyone around him is on his payroll. He doesn't know anyone he doesn't pay. He spends day after day after day, weeks, months, sometimes whole years where he has no contact with anyone who is not in his financial employ. Can you imagine what that does to a person? Can you imagine? This is the guy who probably at the time of this issue is celebrating, probably in the early 2000s. I saw a picture of him. I think he was going to the Cannes Film Festival or something like that. He got out of his limousine, and a grown man, got out of the limousine to hold a parasol over his head to protect him from the sun. And you could tell from the pictures and from Diddy's body language that he pays that guy, and if that guy does a bad job of holding a parasol over his head, he should effing well do himself, the guy would get fired. So you think about that, if you're surrounded every day by people who not only are in your financial employ, but whose condition of whose employment is that they praise you nonstop, you're going to end up like a North Korean leader. There's no way to avoid it. There's no way to stay real under those circumstances. And sure enough, in the article about him, he mentions at one point that he was sent here on a mission to improve music. The natural question, the interviewer doesn't ask it, none of his yes people ask it, but the natural question is sent by whom? And the reason nobody asks this is because everybody's quite aware of what the answer would be. Revolting. Absolutely revolting. But one way or another, we did have a little bit about books. There's a piece here called Slipstream, which does not appear to have an author. The photography, this display here is by Stuart Tyson, where it pairs 6 books with 6 type of shoe. And all the books are new. And so that immediately attracted my eye. You have Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney, blessed be her name. It is, I would say, the best thing that anyone has ever written in the history of any species anywhere in the galaxy. Except then, wouldn't I be in heresy because of all her previous books? What do you do with them? I guess God can write a better book than his previous book, but no one else can. And I certainly can't, I wouldn't rank them. I wouldn't want to rank them. I'm enough in trouble with Interpol to begin with, like my sacrilegious comments about Sally Rooney. I haven't read Archer by Shutri Swami. I read Matrix by Lauren Groff and thought it was, she bites off way more than she can chew. You want to start writing ambitious novels, maybe you shouldn't have basked so much in the uncritical praise of bandwagon jumpers for the whole of the beginning of your career. Maybe you shouldn't have done that if you're starting to get restless in your condo and wanting to write ambitious novels. But one way or another. There's also In the Country of Others by Leela Salami, which I have not read, and Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead, which I thought was a rare failure for this author. But also Poet Warrior, another memoir, I think the second memoir by Joy Harjo. the book looks like that. And Joy Harjo, I was introduced to her, I was really turned on to her by Lukács at Cruel Reader's Thesis. And I loved Poet Warrior. I thought it was fantastic. Can't wait to get the finished copy. I hope I do get one. And interspersed with those books are these shoes. I think we can agree they look flimsy. They certainly can't be worn in rain or even heavy dew. They can't be left out in the sun. They're no good for cold. And they're not good for a second season. They're not good to wear for a second season. They're too flimsy. They're made universally by slaves in China, despite the social media posturing and virtue signaling of their couture designers. We're perfectly happy to jump on Hollywood bandwagons decrying slave labor in China as long as their shoes don't cost them any more per 1,000 units. One way or another, these things are made by slaves in China, and they are made of the flimsiest and cheapest materials, but they cost you, what have we got here? $375 for a pair, $730 for a pair, $1,150 for a pair of shoes, $1,250 for a pair of shoes, and $1,295. $1,295 for that pair of shoes. so there's Vanity Fair. There was a lot of the, nevertheless, despite the frivolities, a lot of the, and also despite the tobacco products there are full color ads on virtually every page for tobacco products. Yes, there are big Surgeon General warning signs. This product will kill you. This product is poisonous. This product is poisonous. It will kill you. It will give you cancer. Those huge boxes all over the page. What are the page doing there? What's the page doing there? I know I've said this many times before. I've been telling Vanity Fair this for 25 years. You can certainly find other advertisers who will cut you just as big a check and who aren't making you complicit in the death of lots of people. It's just insane that I'm still seeing ads like that in 2021 when the medical science has been settled for 100 years. But anyway, those are the two magazines, and then there's the package. It's a padded envelope. It's from one of you. I think I know what this is. And if it's what I think it is, if it after all of this buildup, if it's a book, I'm going to go, wah, wah, sad trombone. But I don't think so. I think I know what this is. And if it is what I think it is, it's going to be... it is what I think it is, because it has that on it. Let's take a look and see. This was sent by one of you. This was sent by one of the many, many friends that I have made through BookTube. I call you friends because it feels a little wrong to call you imaginary, especially since we send each other stuff all the time. Oh. Yes, indeed. All right, there's an elaborate amount of packing here. The person is obviously very conscientious about wanting this to get to me in one piece. I can handle an elaborate amount of packing because this thing came with a phrase that Steve loves almost as much as he loves the phrase, all you can eat. And that is just gathering dust. That is a phrase that I absolutely love to hear. Just gathering dust. I've mentioned this is a Kindle. I've mentioned on this channel that I love reading ebooks. I use my iPad mini, I use my iPad, I use all sorts of tablets of other manufacturers. And I also got a Kindle Paperwhite, which is their best-selling item. It's I don't have it right in front of me here. I wish I did. It's a block, just a slim, lightweight tablet with, unlike all the earlier Kindles, the bezels are not raised, so the whole surface is flush like an iPad. Though you'll all know what a Kindle is. They are for e-reading. They are dedicated to e-reading. They have a beta browser, but it's intentionally not good. It's intentionally, you're supposed to be concentrating only on reading when you're on your Kindle. It's not backlit. It's e-ink. So it's gentler on the eyes, and it's meant to be immersive, and it really works. It really is. I had heard all of you say that I put out the word asking, should I do this? And I heard so many people, so many of you responded saying, this changed my reading life. This is one of the best purchases of any kind that I have ever made. You will love it. This is great. It is a game changer. I lost track of how many people said superlatives like that to me. I kept thinking, if Amazon is reading my emails, they're really going to like what they're seeing here because this is unprompted. This is not sponsored in any way. So I had the Kindle Paperwhite, and I have enjoyed it, but there were two drawbacks. One is I don't experience the kind of eye strain that a lot of you talk about reading a backlit screen like an iPad. It just doesn't seem to bother me the way it bothers a lot of you. And two, I like being able to jump from the document I'm reading to the internet and back to check on things, to cross-reference things. Where have I heard this phrase before? What book did I read on this subject before? I want to make a note in the ebook. I want to do that. I want to make that note informed by something that I find online. And that's hard to do with a dedicated e-reader. It's easy to do with an iPad. And so I drifted back to reading on my iPad. But every time I would pick up that Kindle Paperwhite, I would think, boy, this is immersive. It feels so much more welcoming as a reading experience than the iPad does. So I would fall back in love periodically with that Kindle Paperwhite, but I kept wondering, what about the Kindle Oasis? You'll know what I'm talking about, those of you who know your Kindles. The Kindle Paperwhite is just a rectangle. It's smaller than, but about the same dimensions as a greeting card. And the Kindle Oasis is very different. First of all, it's not all plastic. It has a metal backing. And it has mechanical page turn buttons, so you're not just tapping the screen. And the mechanical page turn buttons are on a thick bezel on the right-hand side that's designed to facilitate you holding the thing without manipulating the screen. And I was contemplating a Kindle Oasis because one of the problems I have with the Kindle Paperwhite is that the bezels are so small that I will often accidentally turn the page, or more than once. Even though the thing has a case, if I'm picking it up or moving it or something, I will often accidentally turn a page because the whole thing is flat. The bezels aren't raised from the screen. Anything you touch is going to manipulate the screen somehow. So I was thinking, what about a Kindle Oasis? They're more expensive, twice as expensive as the Paperwhite. Maybe you should wait until Prime Day or whatever. Maybe find a used one, although that's a roller coaster ride. And one of you, we were emailing about a different subject, and you said the magic phrase, "just gathering dust." You mentioned, I have Kindle Oasis that's just gathering dust. I don't use it. And I'd be happy to send it to you. I swear, I've said it many, many times before on this channel, but it bears repeating today of all days. I have the best viewers of any YouTube channel out there. Just flat out proven. And one of you did that. Multiple packing, but one of you sent me. I am presuming that this will be a Kindle Oasis. Look at that. It is. Okay, here is the Kindle Oasis. And this is exactly what I was talking about. You've got the metal backing there, and you've got this, see, even the ergonomics are different. The handle is completely separate. So your fingers will not stray to the screen unless you want them to. The screen is this glass finish here, and once again, the bezels are not raised, so this is all just flush. But you have the page turn buttons right there under your finger while you're reading, right there, so that you can just the one ergonomic factor that would sometimes draw me out of the reading experience on my Kindle Paperwhite is now gone, now completely taken care of. That is very nice. We will see. We will see what kind of a game changer it is. This has 53% power, and I've got the plug for my Kindle Paperwhite. I'm assuming it's the exact same connectivity here. The sender didn't send a plug or anything, but I don't think I need one. I'm pretty sure that it will work the same. So I'm going to give it a try. And thank you, if you're watching, thank you so much for sending this. I don't want anybody to go to any bother, which is why I love the phrase, just gathering dust. If you have some piece of technology that's just gathering dust, please tell me about it. Steve loves his new tech. I love my new technology, even just new to me. He even sent this lovely Velcro case, which is wonderful. I'm going to charge this thing up. I'm going to connect it to Wi-Fi. I'm going to log into my Amazon account. I'm hoping all of that will go off without a hitch. And then I'm going to play with this thing quite a bit tonight. In fact, if I can, depending on how, also the screen has a gyroscope in it, unlike the Kindle Paperwhite. The screen has a gyroscope in it so that you don't have to do this right or left-handed. The thing will shift around, depending on which hand you want to hold it in. You still get the controls, and it just will rotate for you. But depending on how I can get it to behave, I'm pretty sure, this is not my first Kindle, It's not my first Amazon product. I'm pretty sure that I can get it to behave. Amazon wants you to be able to get this to behave. That's why it's so smooth. Those of you who are familiar with the Amazon ecosystem, buying something, rebuying something on Amazon is so smooth. They make it that way because they want to hook in your business. If it's easier for you to deal with them than it is for you to deal with anybody else, they know you'll deal with them. One way or another, I'm pretty familiar with these things. It shouldn't be that hard for me to set this all up. It should be the matter of 20 minutes. And then we will see. My Kindle library will be on here. It has lots of books in it. Maybe, depending on, the state of ebooks and the state of eGalleys or NetGalley or whatever, maybe I can arrange in the afternoon to do all of my night's reading on this, just to give it a real test run. Wouldn't that be something? So there you go. We have 2 magazines that didn't really blow me away. And I now have, I can't resist holding this thing because it's so nice. I now have a Kindle Oasis. So those of you who have Kindle Oasis, feel free to sing out in the comments or in my email. Feel free to email. Tell me stories about your Kindle Oasis. Tell me stories about what you like and don't like about it. Tell me any kinds of tips or tricks that you want. You can be sure I'm going to be watching YouTube videos that say that. But I like much more hearing from people whose opinions I know I can trust. So I said that this mail haul didn't have any books in it, but in a matter of hours, this thing is going to have thousands of books on it. So I guess it's all relative in the 21st century. But anyway, this makes this the greatest mail haul of the week, even though the week has just started. So I'm going to wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.